If you've been searching for purchase order software, you might have seen options starting from $9 a month to thousands of dollars a month. And most of the comparison sites out there doesn't tell you which software is best for your specific needs. It just gives you a generic overview of here's all the different softwares that are available in the market. So in this video, I'm going to break down specifically all the different price points and which software might be best suited based on where your company currently is and also adjusting for your growth needs. I'm Sachin Sharma from ProcureDesk, where we have helped hundreds of companies in the last few years to automate their purchasing process. So what I'm going to walk you through is based on first-hand experience and the data that we have collected. So let's dive in. Let's first look at the need of small companies. So if you're just getting started, like you have maybe less than 20, 30 employees, and you just need a basic process to control spend, or let's say you have vendors who are asking for purchase orders to be issued, you probably are looking for a very simple solution. You don't need like an entire what we call procure to pay solution or a solution that can do everything for you. So basic needs here would be ability to create a purchase order, maybe print the purchase order, send it out to the vendor, having some sort of like a basic catalog where you can enter the items. Maybe it syncs to your accounting system, or you could upload an invoice against a purchase order. So you're really not doing any sort of like a three-way match, or I would say OCR and things like that, because your volume is very less, right? Or maybe you're paying vendors on credit cards, so it doesn't matter. So if this is your situation, here's a couple of recommendations from a solution standpoint. So the first option is Spendwise. Spendwise offers you the basic purchasing functionality, ability to create the purchase orders and send the purchase order to the vendor. It also integrates with QuickBooks. So if you want to send your purchase order information to QuickBooks, you can use that using Spendwise. The pricing starts from $9 a month to go to, I believe, $19 per user per month. So if you have, let's say, 5 users, you're looking at like $1,200 for the full year, right? $100 a month, $1,200 for the full year. Now, here are some of the limitations of Spendwise, or where you start seeing, I would say limitations showing up. Number one is search. So ability to search past history and so on is very limited. The starting plan, which is $9, limits you to, I believe, 5 users and limited transactions in a month. So that kind of gives you a hint on what is this designed for, right? So if you are maybe processing, 10 purchase orders a month and have 1 or 2 users, go with Spendwise to start with and save some money. Second option to note here is Tradogram. So Tradogram offers a little bit more advanced capabilities when it comes to your entire procure to pay process. They have different plans ranging from the basic purchasing to the entire procure to pay. But again, there are certain limitations which we will talk about. The one thing which Tradograms do very different, which is rare for this industry or space, is and they offer a free plan. But the only limitation with that is I believe 1 user and 5 transactions a month. And that tells you what it is it's designed for. It is designed for you to test the system, not actually use it in production, right? So if you want to just quickly test, sign up for that free plan, that gives you a little bit more flexibility. The next plan in Tradogram is $225 a month, which is what you probably need if you're just getting started. That gives you the ability for creating purchase orders and routing those purchase orders for approvals. Has a limited capability on the budget side, but if you need more capabilities around invoice matching or AP processing, there's a advanced plan that you need to sign up for, which is not covered in the space plan. Now, Tradogram works well for smaller organizations. Again, I think if you're under 50 employees, this is probably a good solution for you. It also has the ability for projects. So if you are like a construction company or anything that is driven by projects, this might be a good option to consider. Now, next we will look at the needs of growing companies. So if you are more than 50 employees, like around 80, 100 employees, all the way to kind of 1,000, this is what we call growing on the lower end of the mid-market and so on. So the next we're going to talk about that section. So if you're in this space, I would say let's call it 100 to 1,000 employees, your requirements are slightly different. You probably have tried managing budgets in spreadsheets and so on, right? Or you have used your accounting system like QuickBooks for generating purchase orders and so on, and probably now have more than, I would say, 50 to 100 purchase orders a month. So what we see with growing companies, 2 things, right? Number one is the number of employees are growing, so they have a need for stronger spend controls. That is where you start seeing like the pen cards doesn't work. So there are a lot of solutions solutions in the market that are based on, hey, there's a card that you can issue to every employee for purchase, which is great when you're getting started. But when you scale, you need better cost controls. The second is you need specific capabilities for invoice matching. Look at the simple math, right? If you're issuing 100 purchase orders a month and let's say you're receiving 2 invoices per purchase order, so that's 200 invoices. Now, if you have to manually match those invoices to purchase orders and check for receipts and so on, like, did we get this? Is it the right price at which we ordered it and so on? It becomes pretty complex, right? So if you are not issuing purchase orders and you just need a card solution where people can just have a high level budget, there are a lot of other solutions like Ramp, which I'm not covering here. This is specifically if you are in a space where you need purchase orders, you need invoice matching and so on. These are some of the recommendations you should look for. So the first option here is ProcureDesk. We are designed for companies that are scaling or growing, so anywhere between 100 to 1,000 employees. And here are a couple of things that you need in this, right? So we talked about spend control. So let's talk about spend control first. So what the solution offers here is the ability for employees to go in and put in a request, which then goes for review and approval. So what that gives you is the ability for a manager or the person who's accountable for the budget to review the spending and make sure they're okay to proceed, or do we really need to buy this now? So that's kind of number one. Second part of spend control is identifying what is in the budget and do you have the budget allocated, or do we need the finance needs to go in and ask for more budget? So proactive budget check to ensure that you have the right budget, and also do you have the money left in the budget or not? So those are the two things from a spend control standpoint. So ProcureDesk automate both of these options. So starting with, employees can easily go and put in a request, whether it is from their mobile app or mobile phone or from the web app, and easily routed for approval. System already knows where it needs to go for approval. It automatically checks for budget. So if you don't have any money left in the budget, it's going to point that out and let you. So not only this is easy for employees to file the request, it also gives spend control and visibility to your finance team, right? So they are assured that you're not spending money when if it is not in the budget. And for CFO, you can now look at your committed spend and understand what you have committed to spend in the, let's say, next 6 months, and what cash flow do you need to run your business. So that is spend control. Number two is employee experience. So this is where most procurement solutions fail, because they look at more from a control standpoint on what the finance team needs versus what your employees need. So let me cover this in more detail. So if you think from an employee experience standpoint, what they need is an easy system where they can, let's say, go to Amazon. They know that experience, right? They can click what they want to buy and they place the order and they're done. So if you can replicate the same experience, this goes a long way to ensure you have adoption of the platform in the company. So this is what ProcureDesk does, right? We have close to 300 vendors where we have this experience built into the solution. So employees can go pick up what they want to buy. Easily it comes back to for approval. And once the approval is done, it automatically places the order. So no change for employee experience, and the team gets spend control, right? So that's number two. Number three, on the invoice side, it automates the invoice matching process. So when the invoice comes in, whether you have a vendor portal where vendors are submitting the invoice, or you have an email address where vendors are sending the invoice, system can ingest all that and then run it through like an OCR AI process to figure out what is in the document. So what it gives you is a couple of things. Number one is your team does not need to enter the invoices in the system. System automatically takes care of that for you, right? It pulls the data from the document. Second, it matches the invoice with the purchase order. So once that information is extracted, it figures out the right PO, the right receipt. And finally, it does the three-way match and identify any exceptions that needs to be managed. So rather than your AP team trying to do this matching manually or trying to figure out what invoices I need to look for, system automatically figures that out and points that out. And also you can automate this whole process where if there's an exception, who needs to handle that? That can be automated as well. So you can completely run it hands-free. So that's invoice capture. The fourth part of the process here is making sure it is integrated with your accounting system. Otherwise, you will land up doing data entry in two different systems. So ProcureDesk integrates with all the major accounting systems, starting from QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, or Sage Intacct, or Microsoft Business Central, or if you're a large company using SAP HANA, it integrates with all of them so that there is no need for you to either manage data entry in two different systems, to the information exchange is automated, like your chart of accounts, your list of suppliers, your list of projects, they are already in your accounting system. So system can automatically pull that up and make it available for your users to use when they're tagging a certain transaction. If this sounds it might be a good fit for you, click on the link below below to talk to one of our product specialists so we can walk you through exactly how ProcureDesk can help you automate your purchase order process. All right, so let's look at a couple of more options. There's Order.co. Order.co is more designed for if you're doing a lot of purchasing from e-commerce websites. What they do is they give you like a catalog from where you can purchase, and then they place the order for you. So your team has one consolidated catalog from where you can buy. The other thing Order.co does is they send you one bill, so you don't have to worry about buying from all those. Now, here are two limitations where Order.co doesn't work. Number one is as you scale, you probably want more control over your cost. So you're directly working with the vendors to have those contracts, right? So that's number one. Number two is since you have just one single catalog from where you can purchase, the price keeps on changing. So you might have price fluctuations. And if it is large fluctuations, you probably don't have predictability from a spend standpoint, right? So those are two things you need to look for when you think about systems like Order.co. The third option in this, I would say, range would be Precoro. Precoro offers a procure-to-pay software. They are more focused on global organizations having multiple locations and so on. You get the complete procure-to-pay process all the way from requisition, purchase order, invoice matching, and so on. The price starts from $4.99 a month and go up to like $1,000 and more depending upon the package that you choose. It integrates with QuickBooks and NetSuite. So you look for whether it integrates with your accounting system or not, right? That's number one. Number two is they offer limited set of punch-out catalogs. So you might want to review all the punch-out catalogs that you need in the system and make sure Precoro supports that. The fourth option here is Procurify. Procurify is again procure-to-pay automation. So very similar capabilities like ProcureDesk, but they have, of course, a lot of their focus mostly seems to be on spend card, virtual spend card. So if you are primarily looking for a card solution and you don't have a strong need for purchase orders, AP automation, and so on, that might be a good solution to consider. However, they do offer entire procure-to-pay software. So those are a couple of options for the mid-market space. Now let's look at enterprise. So I call enterprise here as any company that is more than 1,000 employees. Now, of course, definition varies, but let's start with that. So when you think about growing like companies that are more than 1,000 employees, you get into IT complexity. You have very complex procurement requirements. It probably needs to talk to other, major systems, whether it is your onboarding system or identity management system or your ERP and so on. Now, most of the audience here probably are not in that space, but I'm going to cover some of the solutions that are available in that space. Number one is Coupa. So Coupa is, kind of best of breed solution that integrates with your accounting system. It not only offers procure to pay, but it is also designed to capture a lot of other things that an organization might need. They have a supply chain module that is designed only for supply chain. They have other procurement solutions that are used only by your procurement team. So maybe you need a RFP solution, maybe you need a sourcing solution, maybe you need a contract management solution. All that is covered in Coupa. And these are the solutions that you don't need if you're less than 1,000 employees, or you probably don't need that level of complexity. I think that's probably a better way to put it. So Coupa is one option. Pricing varies. I mean, most of the companies spend anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000 a year, and you're looking at 5 to 6 months of implementation and so on. While as the growing companies need something that can be implemented in, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks, right? Just quick implementation. The second option would be if you are IT heavy organization where IT design a lot of these workflows across different functions, then a good option to look at might be Kissflow. So Kissflow offers a customized workflow management software where you can design workflow for different, I would say, processes in your business, whether it is HR, whether it is procurement, and so on. So if you have like an IT team that can configure different processes in one system, this might be a good option to look for. And third option I want to mention here is Ariba, which is owned by SAP now. So SAP Ariba, again, best of breed software, very comparable features as compared to like your Coupa of the world and so on. So if you're already on, let's say, an SAP solution, that might be a worthwhile, solution to compare. They do integrate with other systems like Oracle as well, but it makes sense if you're using SAP to evaluate Ariba. So if you're a finance leader of a growing company and you're ready to control spending and automate your purchasing process, and you don't want the enterprise complexity and a 5 to 6 months sales cycle or implementation cycle, click on the link below to schedule a demo with one of our team members so we can show you how we can automate the purchase order process and do it within 2 to 4 weeks with integration with your accounting system. So again, click on the link below to schedule time with one of our product specialists, and we can walk you through how ProcureDesk can help you. And if you're looking for how to go paperless and have a 95% paperless procurement process, click on this link and check this video.